Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamlined Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. Tonight we're talking time tracking, and here's the scenario. You have a firm with maybe an attorney or two, got some paralegals, and we're doing case review meetings. Now, I'm a big fan of case review meetings. I think they can be very helpful, especially when we're making sure nothing's falling through the cracks. We're making sure that we're on top of things. We're being very proactive. And when done well, these case review meetings really don't have to take that long. If we're documenting everything the way that we should be in your practice management software, then it really doesn't take that long. What becomes a challenge a lot of times is when we start creating time entries. So whether you're billing for these meetings or creating time entries just to track time, we need to make sure that we're creating them very efficiently in Clio. And what happens a lot of times is, we hand a list over to the paralegal or to the secretary and have them start entering time for all the people that attended that meeting. And if we've got 3 people in that meeting that are tracking time and we've got 50 cases, that's a lot of time entries. And it can take a long time if we're doing them one by one individually in Clio. The great news is Clio does have the ability to upload those time entries in bulk, and it's a pretty simple process. So I'm going to walk you through it today. It will greatly reduce the amount of time this is going to take you guys. I have one firm where it's taking in excess of an hour, usually about an hour and 45 minutes to enter all those time entries for 3 attendees to a case review meeting where they've got approximately 50 files, and it takes forever. This method here will take about 10 minutes. So let's walk through it. It's late, Marissa, but we are on a roll. We are diving deep. So let's do it. I'm going to take you over to our screen here in Clio. And the first thing we need to do is we need to download a list of our cases. And that's very easy to do. If we come over here to this column section, we're going to go ahead and on the screen, we're just going to show the matter. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the actions. I'm going to get rid of the client. Actually, you know what? I might leave the client there just for our own purposes so we know who we're talking about. But we're going to get rid of most of all these columns. So I'm going to go ahead and say update the columns. Excellent. And then you'll see right down here this export button. We're going to click on that. We want it to be in a CSV. And we want to only export the visible columns. We don't need all that other extra information. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on export. And after about a second or so, it's going to give me this spreadsheet here. And the spreadsheet, sorry, not this one. Let's wait for it to open up the one we just downloaded. There we go. So the spreadsheet, what it's going to give me is the number of the case, so the case number, the description, so I know a little bit more about what the case is, and then I decided to put the client name in here. I'm going to say we have enough information here with just the display number and the description. So what I'm going to do is I now need to go and download a spreadsheet from Clio. And Clio, in their help section, you can download, if you look up in their help section, activities import, bulk import, you'll find the spreadsheet. And I'll post a link to it in the comments below. But here we've got the spreadsheet. All I've done is added an extra column here that's blank. And it needs the matter number. I'm going to put in the description here just for my own purposes so I remember which one it is. Some people have trouble identifying the case just by the number. I'm going to put in the date of our meeting. If you have an activity category set up for this, you can add that here. I do, so I put in case review meeting. If you don't, you can leave it blank. Notes is where I'm going to have the person in the meeting actually put down some detail on each case. So we'll look at that in a minute and what that looks like. Price is where I need to put the dollar amount, the billing rate for each attorney or whoever's going to be there. Quantity is going to be the time. And then type of entry is time entry. So type of activity is time entry. And then the activity user is the person. And then non-billable, of course, I'm only going to fill out if it's non-billable. So let's talk about this. At the very beginning, I'm going into my meeting. I have this template saved for every meeting. So I start from here. Every time I download the cases that we're going to talk about, I'm assuming in this meeting we're talking about every open file. If you're not, you can filter out that list and download just the cases you plan to talk about. But here, I'm assuming we're talking about every file. So I'm going to take the number in the description and I'm going to copy it out. We've got about 47 cases here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go over my template and I'm going to go ahead and paste it right here. So now we've got the matter number, we've got the description, we've got, we're going to put in the date. The date of our meeting is today, so that's June 24th. So I'm going to put June 24, 2020. And of course, the date's going to be the same for all of these because it's the same one meeting we're going to be in. So I'm going to paste it down for everybody. I'm going to come over to my price. Now, it depends on how you are billing for these. Check your engagement letter. Make sure you make it clear to your client. If we're going to be billing for all of the attorneys, then we put a price in for everybody. That's their billable rate. If we're just billing for one of the attorneys and everybody else is going in as zero, we can do that too. But we're going to assume for this first to charge their billable rate, which is $2.50 an hour. And so I went ahead and plugged that in there. And again, that one attorney is going to bill the same for all these cases. So I'm just going to paste it on down the spreadsheet. There we go. I'm going to say in my engagement letter, I specified that we're going to bill 0.2 for every time we review a file in that meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that for all of these cases again, just to be thorough there. And then the last thing is, who's the attorney? Now, I can leave this blank, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Know who you intend to use, but you don't have to fill it all out. Okay, and it's not non-billable, so we don't need to worry about that column. So here we've got our spreadsheet. Now this spreadsheet took about 2 minutes to complete, and now I can send this into the meeting with an assistant, with a paralegal, with somebody. And as we talk through each one of these cases and we identify them, we can put some more detailed notes. Your clients, if they get a bill that says case review meeting, 0.2, I'm not going to be excited to pay that bill as a client because I don't know what you're talking about. What did you do in that meeting? What did you talk about in that meeting? Was the meeting necessary? Was it necessary to discuss my case? So if I can put a little bit more detail, such as discussed best approach for obtaining discovery. Okay. Now I can put, that took about 4 seconds. I can put a little note on every one that we come across. The notes will all be different, of course. Maybe some of them will be the same. For our example purposes, I'm just going to copy and paste these since we're not sitting in the meeting and we don't have that data. But each of these notes will be slightly different, giving a little more detail about what we talked about. And that's it. This spreadsheet is ready to go. I'm sorry, one last thing. When we come out of that meeting, we know who was in there. We know their billable hour. When we come out of this meeting with this spreadsheet, we don't need, and in fact, we can't use this description column right here. The software won't take it. So that was just for our reference in the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead now that we're done with the meeting, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that column. Now our spreadsheet looks exactly the way Clio needs it to look, and it's all ready to go in. So I'm going to save it. And I'm going to come over to Clio now. And you'll see, if I click on activities here, there's no activities today. No one's done anything. It's morning. We just got into the office. We just had our case review meeting first thing, and now the time entries are ready to go in. So we hand that spreadsheet that we just made over to an assistant, a secretary, somebody that can fill those in for us. And we go over to the Clio account, and we come and we change this address to say /imports. And we go to the import page. Now, some of you may have used this page before and it will have some data in here. Some of you may not have used it before, and that's fine. But when we get to the imports page, we're going to see an opportunity to go ahead and add an import. Okay, so I'm going to click on add up here in the corner. and it wants to know what I'm adding. I'm adding activities from a CSV file. That's what I've saved it as. Here I can specify the user. I didn't need to do it in the spreadsheet because they're all the same. I'm going to come over to this user. I'm going to say me, Melanie Leonard, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the file. So it will ask me which file, and we're a little slow tonight with our video connection and everything that's going on. Once we find that file, right up here, the one we just saved, we're going to click open, and we're going to say upload. And it will take, you'll see it showed up right here on the top line. It's queued up for, oh, now it's in progress. They've done 45 of them, and now there should be about 2 more. Yep, 47, and now we're complete. Okay, so now I hop on over to activities, and this is filtering just my time entries now, and there they are. All of our cases have showed up, and the it's 0.2 for everybody. The user is me. The hourly rate was $2.50, and it's calculated that out to be $50 a case. By the way, that's 20 for our 47 cases. That's $23.50 for that meeting. Now, if your attorneys are billing $250 an hour, we've got 3 of them in the meeting together. The meeting goes an hour, right? That's $750. Let's say the meeting goes 2 hours. That's about $1,400. We're still coming out ahead. I mean, that's still helping us to recover the cost of everybody being in that meeting. So that's the good news, that we've been able to calculate that out. The next thing that I want to show you is now we need to start entering time for the other people in the meeting. So we're going to go back to our same spreadsheet. We don't have to change anything. The matters are the same, the date's the same, the activity category, if you have one, is the same, notes are the same. Here we need to add a different billable rate for someone else that was in the meeting. Now let's say that we agreed, we can change this billable rate for the other person, but let's say in our engagement letter it says we'll only have one person bill for that meeting. The rest of them are not going to bill. So then I'm going to want to change this time price or rate to 0. And so I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it on here. But I want it to show up on the bill still. I want them to know that they were there and that they were at the meeting and they participated. And so I'm not going to make it non-billable. It's still going to be billable, but at a rate of $0. And I can keep the time entry the same, okay, because we're still tracking time for everybody. And now this one is ready to go in for the second person. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back to my imports. And this time, I'm going to go ahead and upload this just the same way I did the last time. So I'll go over to the Add button in the upper right corner. And again, I'm going to add activities from CSV. This time I'm going to pick my associate attorney. These are the time entries I'm making for the associate attorney now. I'm going to pick the same file that I just updated and saved. Ooh, you know what? Let's make sure it did update and save, huh? Let's see. Oops. There it is, 41. Let's make sure we got the right one. There we go. That one right there. Okay, we're going to upload the file. And again, it's at the top here. It's queued up to go. It's got 47 successes. So let's go check them out. When we click on activities now, of course, my entries are going to show up by default, but now I'm going to filter for my associate attorney. And once we filter for that, we'll see all of the associate attorney's time entries. And again, I put the rate in as 0 because we're not charging the client for that, but we did want to show those time entries. And so we still have the same time tracking for our purposes and for the client to know who was there, but we are not we're not charging them anything additional. Okay, so then The third person that was at this meeting, we're going to go ahead and go back to our spreadsheet. And the third person, again, same matter, same date, same description, same everything. But this person we're going to put in the assistant. And this person we're not going to bill for. We're going to let her track her time, but they do not need to appear on the bill. And so I'm going to go ahead and under this non-billable column, I'm going to say, yes, it was non-billable. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to stick that right down, paste it right down here for all the rest of our cases. And I'm going to save this file again, because this time we're going to upload it for the assistant. And so I'll go back to my imports page. Don't need all that. Just go to imports. And when we get to that imports page, again, we're going to click on the add button, find that file that's now updated and saved, and upload it again with that person's name. Now, even though this is taking a little bit of a delay here because probably an internet connection or something, it still loads faster than if your assistant was sitting there and entering them one at a time individually. And so let's go ahead and click on add here. Again, it's the same activities from CSV. This time I'm doing it for my administrative assistant, and I'm going to go ahead and choose that file again. And we're going to make sure it was the same file that we just updated. And I'm going to make sure that's saved first because I don't want us to be getting an older version of that file. There we go. So we're going to open that. We're going to upload that. It's listed up here as queued up. It'll take a second. 47 are complete as successes. So we're going to go on over to activities now that that's uploaded. We're going to now filter, because by default it's me, we're going to now filter for the administrative assistant. And her time entries are now showing up, and they're showing up as non-billable, okay? Which means they will not appear on the bill. So whether, we'll click over here on we're on activities. We're going to go ahead and filter for everyone, right? All users. And that will show us now the entries for me, for the associate attorney, for the administrative assistant, some of which are billed, some are not billed, but they're all in here. And that took about 10 minutes as opposed to the hour and 45 minutes that it can take. So I would highly, highly encourage you guys, now that you've seen this and you know how fast it can be done, please do download that template from Clio. Feel free to share this video with your assistants, and do put this into place because it's going to provide you with much better bills. When those entries do show up on the bills, your clients are going to be much more willing to pay them because they know what you did. They know what, they're going to have that description of what you talked about, and it's super easy for someone to document in that meeting, and super fast for someone to upload all of those time entries. We did approximately 150 time entries in 10 minutes. So please do give this a try. Let us know if you have any questions. If this is something that you find helpful, keep in mind we are doing our newest workshop, super excited about it, called Tackling Time Entries. If you liked this kind of a trick and you like the efficiency of getting your time entries in consistently and easily, please reach out to us about that workshop. We're thrilled to tell you more about it and have you sign up. If you head over to our website, www.streamlined.legal, you'll find all the information there right on the front page. And we're super excited to turn this time tracking into something that is not causing quite so much stress in your office. So thanks for joining me tonight. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and we will see you soon. Thanks so much.